Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of the All We Do Is Talk podcast. We're here on Christmas Eve. We're going to be talking some Week 16 football. Here with Moody and Isaiah. How are we doing today, guys?
It's good. Just enjoying being in the playoffs, fellas. Just enjoying knowing that we got an extra game to play.
I don't know why you bragging. Like, our two teams in the top 10 of the
y'all
draft.
Y'all in the playoffs? Y'all in the playoffs?
Are y'all going to go to the NFC Championship?
We got a chance? Y'all got a chance?
No, y'all don't
y'all
have a chance.
Y'all don't have a chance. Are y'all going to get to play an extra game to even see if you get the opportunity? No. You're sitting at home.
All right, well, let's get into it with these Christmas Day games. We're going to start with Cleveland heading up to the frozen tundra of Green Bay. Green Bay minus 7.5 over under 46.
I'm going to go ahead and assume Baker Mayfield's not going to play. And since I'm assuming that, this is my lock of the week. There's no chance in hell that the Cleveland Browns, I think with or without Baker Mayfield, would walk into Green Bay and win the game. Green Bay's defense hasn't been playing as well as they were earlier in the year. They've given up back-to-back 30-point games to Justin Fields and Tyler Huntley. That's not good, but those are mobile running quarterbacks who make their small DBs have to move around, do all those type of things. I don't think Baker provides the same threat. Green Bay's been stout against the run all year. I think they'd do a good enough job slowing down Nick Chubb, especially without the real threat of a passing game going over their head. Aaron Rodgers is the MVP of the league. I expect him to continue to play like himself in the frozen tundra on a Christmas game. I think it'll be harder for Baker Mayfield if he plays, or Case Keenum, or Nick Mullins, whoever ends up lining up for them, to walk into Green Bay and get the victory. So I'll take Green Bay to cover. And what did I take? The over.
I'm going to go the other way. I just think that Cleveland's going to bring something. And when I say Cleveland, I mean I think Myles Garrett is going to have one of those defensive player of the year type breakout games. And I just think Cleveland's going to be fighting and be a little more desperate. I think they could get Green Bay slacking because it's a Christmas game. They might not come out firing on all cylinders. And I just think Cleveland's due. They're going to be upset. I think Baker Mayfield will make it back. I do think Case Keenum is good to go. But I'm just going to take Cleveland to cover. I think Green Bay wins by 3. I think Cleveland fights them harder than everybody expects, but I just think Cleveland has enough to cover on their defense. And I will take the under because any game that isn't on a Sunday with a full week, I'm going to say that we're probably going to get unders.
That's a good way to think about it. That's sure.
Yeah, I'm going to go Green Bay too. I don't know how you can bet against Green Bay right now. Aaron Rodgers is the MVP right now, but I think Tom Brady's going to have a get-right game against Carolina. But I'll take Green Bay and the over as well. Case Keenum's enough to get him some points to hit this over, but the majority of it's going to be coming from the Packers. All right, let's go to the nightcap of Christmas Day. Indianapolis heading to Arizona. Arizona minus 1.5 over under 48.5.
I'm going to start with this one because I think I'm going to go with my lock of the week for this game. And I guess, do y'all want to go if we get a lock right on Saturday, we could do one on Sunday. But it doesn't really matter. But I just don't think this matchup is very good for the Cardinals. We've seen them getting ran on by dominant offensive fronts the last couple of weeks. And that just says it all. They're not dominant at home either. So that's good. I just think the Colts walk in. And it's set at 1.5, but I think the Colts handle the Cardinals easily. I think their defense has lots of speed on it. Darius Leonard containing Kyler Murray, along with DeForest Buckner, who's played the Cardinals a little bit before. He's played some of those personnel before he left San Francisco for Indy. So I think he's been dominating these NFC West games, to the shock of nobody. So I'm just gonna go with the Colts, lock it in, easy cover, and I'm gonna go with the. Can the Colts get 4 touchdowns? I'm going to go with the under. I think it's an easy under.
Yeah, I pretty much 100% agree with you. I think the Cardinals are going to have a really, really hard time slowing down Jonathan Taylor with the way they scheme up, the way they play their defense, and their back end hasn't been performing as well either. So if they have to really come up and sell out on Jonathan Taylor, Carson Wentz might be able to hit a couple of big plays over the top. I think they'll be able to protect very well. It's not the right time. Arizona's in a little bit of a free fall. Indianapolis is hot, and it's a bad matchup. It just seems like a rough day out for Arizona. Maybe Kyler Murray at home can uplift the team and put on an MVP performance. That's probably their best shot here. But other than that, I'll take the Colts to cover and the under as well.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as y'all. Indianapolis and the under. I just think the Colts are getting hot at the right time. Like they're figuring themselves out, and Arizona's going the other way. So yeah, Indianapolis and the under. I think Indianapolis is a pretty easy play. Let's go down to my pitiful Carolina Panthers, where Cam's going to be starting, but Sam Darnold will somehow find his way into the game. Tampa
Maybe
Bay.
some PJ Walker.
If we play three quarterbacks, if two quarterbacks mean no quarterbacks, I don't know what three quarterbacks means.
It means you're trying to take it out.
Yeah, Tampa Bay minus 10 over under 43.
And that's why this is an easy Tampa Bay cover, because the Panthers are playing a QB rotation. That's not what you want to see in Week 16 after there were possible franchise quarterbacks on the board in the draft and they didn't take any of them. Tampa Bay is banged up badly. Mike Evans isn't going to play. Chris Godwin is obviously out for the season. They're supposed to get Antonio Brown back from his suspension, so that'll be a good. Antonio Brown and Gronk, I think, will be more than enough to take care of business here. Leonard Fournette's out too. But Ronald Jones is just as good, in my opinion. It just depends on whoever Tom Brady's running back.
He's not fumbling.
As long as he doesn't put the ball on the ground. But for Carolina, they're just not in a good place right now. They've clearly turned their page to thinking about next year. They've already fired a coordinator as a scapegoat. They don't look like a team that's going to be able to hang with a team that's desperate to start to win some football games right now. Tampa Bay really blew one against New Orleans last week. They have to bounce back. This is a very, very important game for them because they don't want to fall into a 4-seed situation. So I think Tampa Bay will cover the double-digit spread here because I think Carolina will have a hard time just keeping up, even though Tampa Bay's missing offensive weapons. Carolina's defense is not as good as it was early in the year. So I'll take Tampa Bay to cover and the over.
I'm going to go the other way. I just don't think with the injury to Mike Evans, to Chris Godwin, to Leonard Fournette, those are big injuries. And I think Levante David's been nicked up and neck. Their secondary's in and out, all the guys around. I don't think Carolina will win this game because offensively they probably won't be able to do enough to win the game. But I think defensively they're going to give Tom Brady a hard day. I think they're going to rush the passer really well. Brian Burns coming off a Pro Bowl selection. He's having a good year. Also, Hassan Reddick, I think, might have got in. I don't think he got in, but he might have. But I think the Carolina defense is good enough to give a wounded duck Tampa Bay Buccaneers a problem. Now the Bucs might come out, win by 8, maybe win by 9 in the end. But I think Carolina will cover because I just think 10 is too much to give to the Bucs with all the injuries they'll be dealing with.
Over or under?
I'll take the under if I'm saying a cover. Sloppy game that Tampa Bay gets out of one because we know how Tom Brady does in the fourth quarter when it's time to get out of a close game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going Tampa Bay on this one. I think Ronald Jones will fill the void of Leonard Fournette. Hopefully, picked him up on the waiver wire because Austin Eckler is out, which buries another fantasy team of mine. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a perfect get right game for Tom Brady before the playoffs. To get used to a new dynamic with different receivers, different volume of targets going to different people. And after I don't bet on Tom Brady after he gets shut out. That's all I'm going off there. All right, so let's go down to Houston where the Chargers are coming to town. Chargers are only 3.5 point favorites over under 45.5.
Actually, that's a typo.
Where'd you get 3?
It's 10.5.
It's not.
I'm reading the spreadsheet, boys.
It's a typo. It's a typo.
You got by a typo, Eric.
It's 10.5.
Chargers.
Right.
I was about to say my lock of the week.
Yeah, so you can actually you can push that up to 8, 9, 10 points on the alternate spread if you wanted to. This is a mismatch, obviously. Justin Herbert's playing. He's finally gotten back to his rhythm, I think, to playing probably the best football of his career. I think the offensive line has really gotten itself together. They're going to get Slater back from the COVID list. Houston, as they show in the cut of Zach Cunningham, they're not really super interested in trying to compete out here. They're going to be one of those teams that's going to be trying to pick in the top 5. Davis Mills is Davis Mills. He looks okay sometimes. Other times he looks like a rookie quarterback. I think he'll look more like a rookie quarterback in this one with the Chargers getting most of their defenders back off the COVID list. Chargers are going to cover because Justin Herbert's going to light up that cover 2 with his arm, and I'll take the over.
Yeah, I agree. Easy pick. I mean, not easy because, this one scares me of backdoor cover. That's what this one screams. But I just think the Chargers are way better than Houston. Their defense will give Davis Mills problems because he won't be able just to pass against that. They'll probably be able to take. I think Brandon Cooks went onto the COVID list, so
man.
that actually makes things worse. Laramie Tunsil, I don't know if he ever came back. Has he
I don't
even
think
been
he's
playing
gonna
that
come
much this
back.
year?
He, like Mekhi Becton, I think he's just. We'll see it next year.
Chargers and the Chargers going away easily, and I'll take the over because I think Houston's. I don't think the Chargers defense is just going to stomp them out all game. So I'll take the over. Maybe they put up some garbage time points.
Wait, who you took the Chargers?
Yeah, we both took the Chargers. I took the over.
That's the over as well.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. I mean, this is just one of those games where a playoff team trying to get right against a team that's tanking. So, yeah, Chargers and the over. All right, let's go to Isaiah's game where the Giants are going to Philly. Philly are 10-point favorites over under 40.5.
Take it away, Isaiah.
I mean, it's looking like Jake Fromm is in line to get the start here. Hopefully he does because, no more Mike Lennon would be nice. I just think this line, I'm going to take the Giants to cover because I just can't take Jalen Hurts to cover a 10-point line with that Philadelphia team. I think our defense will give him problems like they did a couple weeks ago, and I expect this to be easily the worst game that you see on the TV on Sunday.
There's one worse coming up soon. There's one worse coming.
There might be, I think the defenses are good in this game, though, so they'll make it look really bad. I don't think there'll be much offense in this game, so definitely hit the under because it's 40.5. Unless there's defensive touchdowns, it's not going to be an over, so under is pretty safe here. So I'll take the Giants to cover and Philadelphia and the under, even though I do think Philadelphia probably will win the game. I think the Giants do have a chance to win this game just off their defense alone.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Giants will cover here. Jalen Hurts getting 10 points is that's hard for me to really go off of, no matter who's starting at quarterback for the Giants. Because
he barely did it last week against Garrett Gilbert.
Yeah, because I don't think who starts a quarterback for the Giants really matters when it comes to this matchup. We know Daniel Jones isn't playing, so we know it's going to be a bad quarterback, and it's at Philly. They aren't going to score a lot of points anyway. But last time they played each other at MetLife, the Giants defense completely shut down Jalen Hurts in that offense. Jalen Hurts looked confused and trying to make throws down the field. They ran the ball okay, but not as well as they need to for Jalen Hurts to be a truly effective quarterback. I expect the Giants to be able to come out with a similar game plan here and slow them down. Maybe they run the ball a little bit better, but this is going to be bad. It's not going to be good football. Massive under, but I'll take the Giants to cover the 10 points.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm taking Giants and the under. I can't give any of these teams a 10-point favorite, so I will gladly take the 10 points, and no way in hell there's going to be 41 points scored in this game. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's go to an actual exciting game where Baltimore is heading to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is -3 over under 45.5.
Yeah, this is the battle for the AFC North pretty much right here. The two last remaining heavyweight, because Pittsburgh pretty much, I don't know if they can win it. They're not out of it, but I don't know if they can win it.
And Cleveland's not out of it.
Cleveland, they've just got so many issues. I think these are the two best teams if Lamar Jackson's out there.
No, he's projected.
Yeah, he hasn't played, so
practice all week,
and that will be the issue here. That's why I'm going to take Cincinnati to cover, because I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to play. Tyler Huntley has played good football. He should have beat Green Bay last week if he just knew how to make a second read, if the coaches told him to make the second read, if they completely take away Mark Andrews. But that's neither here nor there. He put on the best performance he could put on. I think he had 2 in the air, 2 on the ground. He was fantastic. Baltimore really rose to the occasion in a big game, and they fought as hard as they could fight. I expect them to do the same thing here, but with a much lower point spread at just 3, I think it is, for Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's able to take care of business here. Last time they played them, they busted their ass in Baltimore, I think. Now they got to go to Cincinnati. Cincinnati isn't playing great football, but Baltimore's defense is just so banged up that I think they'll be able to find some answers here, especially with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins getting back on track. I think Cincinnati covers here, and I'll take the over.
Yeah, I mean, if I can make it, this would be my secondary lock. I tease it up a little bit. I think Cincinnati is going to handle them again. It's just no Lamar. I don't expect Lamar to play, and I expect those injuries in the Baltimore secondary to still be crippling. I expect Jamar Chase to be explosive, and/or T. Higgins. One of those receivers are going to go. At least 2 of the 3 of the best receivers are going to go over 100 yards. I think it's going to be pretty easy. Cincinnati takes a stranglehold on the NFC North. And as for Baltimore, sucks that Lamar's hurt and they've had so many injuries this year because they have a good team. And I'll take the over because Baltimore has shown you that even when they're without Lamar Jackson, they can still find a way to look effective on offense.
I
That
agree.
works.
Yeah, I mean, it may be your secondary lock, but I'm going to curse the Cincinnati Bengals again.
One more time.
One more time. One more time. Cincinnati. I mean, this is the game, I think, for the division. So, and if I want them to be in the playoffs, I mean, they're not making a wild card. So the division is where it has to be. And this is the last stand for them. Not last stand, but like this is the game. So I will lock it in with Cincinnati and the over. All right, let's move on to the cover gods, the men of Detroit going to Atlanta. Atlanta -6 over under 42.5.
One question: if Detroit played anybody this year, would they ever be favored? They haven't been favored in any game.
No. And they,
Even Jacksonville's been favored like three times.
I think they'd be favored against Jacksonville. I think if
Vegas lie to you and try to make you think Jacksonville's still good enough to be bad.
Vegas try to get Jacksonville a 5.5. They robbed some niggas with that. They robbed some niggas with that, man.
But yeah, I mean, come on. I'm gonna stay on the bandwagon. I'll never jump off the bandwagon. Detroit's 9-4, 9-5 against the spread for a reason. I mean, and against Atlanta, that's too easy. I actually think Detroit wins this game. I take the money line if you wanted to.
No matter who's at quarterback.
Yeah, I think Detroit wins this
the
game.
Culture. It's a culture.
I think they're gonna win in the trenches and beat up on Atlanta. Maybe Arthur Smith's been good, so maybe their offense keeps them in the game, and then Matt Ryan being the better quarterback, even if Jared Goff playing helps them win. But I just don't like what I've been seeing out of Atlanta ever since Calvin Ridley left to go deal with his personal reasons. Their offense has just turned to Cordell Patterson touchdown here or there, and then game over. Really, they haven't competed that much the last couple of weeks, and I just think Atlanta's season is probably going to get the final nail in their coffin this week when they lose to Detroit. So I'll take Detroit, and I'll take the over because I don't think these defenses are good enough to keep both these offenses down too badly.
Go ahead, Eric.
Well, I'm riding with Detroit as well. How can you get off this wagon? I don't care who at quarterback. Yeah, I'll take the over. 42.5 is, I think, a little low for an Atlanta game.
And in a dome.
Yeah. So, I mean, how can you not take Detroit? How could you not? Moody?
Yeah, so I have to take Detroit as well. I just don't know how they don't. It's Atlanta, so it's easy to just go pick on Atlanta. There's really no rhyme or reason why Detroit's going to cover in this game. They don't have their starting quarterback. They don't have their starting running back. Their receiver core is trash. The offensive line's pretty good, and Atlanta's had a hard time handling teams in the trenches. So that'll probably be the saving grace. They'll run the ball well enough to be able to keep the game close. I'm going to take the under because I think that Detroit's best way of being in the game is being a low-scoring game. If this has to get anywhere in the 20s, they have no shot. They have to win this game in the teens. So I'll take Detroit to cover in the under.
All right, let's go to the toilet bowl of the week. Jacksonville heading to New York Jets. Jets are favorited -1 over under 41.5.
I'm only taking Jacksonville because they're the underdog. And that I would have taken the underdog, whoever was in this game, wherever it was played, because these are the bottom two football teams.
Pick them, so it's whoever you pick the winner.
These are the bottom two football teams in the NFL. I think there's a clear gap between those two and like Houston, Detroit,
Chicago, New York.
Those bad teams. This game doesn't matter. This only game matters only. I don't think either team wants to win the game. Like the winner of
Zach Wilson,
the winner of this game is a loser. Because that means they're going to lose draft positioning. That's really what this game is all about here. I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence to win the game because I think he's better. Jacksonville, as bad as they look at times, has shown a better ability to win football games than the Jets have. And I'm excited to see New York media roast the Jets after they lose to a terrible Jacksonville team. So I'll take Jacksonville to cover, and I'll take the under because I don't trust either of these offenses to do anything.
I'm going to go the other way. It's a pick 'em, so I'm going to pick the Jets. They're home. And they've shown the last month they've shown that they could compete with teams, while the last month Jacksonville has shown they're not competing with teams. And it's just that simple. I think the Jets have more good pieces working for them, and I think their coaching is better. Well, actually, now I know it's clearly better because who knows what's going on there in Jacksonville now that Urban Meyer, who's running a clown house, isn't even there to run the clown house. So sorry for Trevor Lawrence, sorry for Zach Wilson that they got stuff in this. But this game is probably going to be worse than the Giants-Eagles game because the quarterback play is going to find a way to somehow even be worse. And, maybe you get some nice, flashy, crazy plays here and there because
Over under 7 turnovers in this game.
I'm going to go under 3 apiece. 3 apiece. 3 apiece. 6 is excessive still, but definitely take the under. I'm going to take the Jets in the under because if this game, if either of these teams put up 20 points, I would be shocked.
Yeah, I love Jacksonville in this spot, so that means I'm going to take the New York Jets. Yeah, I mean, there's no rhyme or reason in this game. I mean, they're both terrible teams. And I think being at home is what drove me to pick the Jets, and I'll go under because, yeah, if any of them get to the 20s, it'll be a great day for them. All right, let's go to Minnesota where the Rams are coming to town. Rams are -3.5, over under 48.5.
There was a scenario in my head in which I thought I could take Minnesota to win this game. LAR doesn't really run defend very well. I think Minnesota's supposed to get Adam Thielen back, and I think that would make Jalen Ramsey's life a lot harder since he can't just take one out the game. He would have to deal with a lot of different weapons that Minnesota has. And Minnesota's defense hasn't been playing too bad. That too high shell look can always create problems for a down the field passing attack like LAR's. But then Dalvin Cook went on the COVID list, and that pretty much changed the whole dynamic.
Madison's just as good.
No, I don't think so. Madison performs well against bad teams when he plays his backup spot, but against an Aaron Donald, a Von Miller, and this LAR type of defense, I think you need your best hitters out there. As good as Justin Jefferson is, I still think Dalvin Cook performs as their best overall offensive player. But without his presence, I think that's just a massive hole of explosive playmaking that they'll need to compete with the LAR offense. So I'll take the Rams to cover here. I think Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp connection will be more than enough to put up 30 points on offense. And without Dalvin Cook, they'll have a hard time keeping up on the scoreboard. So I'll take LAR to cover, and I'll take the over.
Yeah, due to the Rams being on the short week, I think we're going to get that same type of game they played against Seattle again. Minnesota might stay competitive and give them some hassles early, but in the end, Matthew Stafford will find Cooper Kupp a couple times for a few explosive plays, and Rams cover easily because I'm sure Aaron Donald will have a dominant game in this game because that interior of the Vikings is a little weak in pass protection. So good luck to Kirk Cousins because we know how he is with pressure.
You took the over?
What's the over-under?
48.5.
I'll take the over. Yeah, these are two decent offenses. Great offense, one good offense. So, yeah, I'll take the over.
All right, we're all on the same page in this game. Rams over. I think Aaron Donald's going to have a field day as well. He does great against non-mobile quarterbacks. He does great against everyone, but he really feasts on –
I'm about to say Kyler Murray will disagree. Kyler Murray will think that he does great against all quarterbacks. But, yeah.
And then, can we talk about Cam Akers?
He's coming back.
How in the world is a man 5 months off a torn Achilles about to play in an NFL football game?
His body's different.
He's going to get himself hurt. And
if he looks great, then he's going
to – why do you even need to rush him back? Do they need Cam Akers?
How do you know he don't want to rush back?
Do they need Cam Akers, though?
But if he's saying, I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to go win the Super Bowl, they're like, oh, cool. We'll see.
All right, man.
All right, let's move on to another massive game for a division. Buffalo heading to New England. New England -1.5, over under 43.5.
I've had a pretty consistent theme of when I don't think these teams are good enough to sweep each other. And I think I'll continue with that here. New England found the magic formula of a monsoon to make sure they only had to throw the ball a couple of times, and that got the job done. They just ran it down Buffalo's throat all day long, and Josh Allen had to go deal with the elements. New England Bill Belichick found a way to out-scheme and out-coach himself out of that one. I don't think he'll be able to replicate the success a second time, especially because I think their confidence is going to be dinged up after they took a rough loss to the Colts last week. I think Mac Jones is a little bit more prone to some mistakes. I think they'll force Mac Jones to participate in the game, really, because he didn't participate last time. He didn't have to do anything. But I think
hand it off.
All he did was hand it off. I think Buffalo will do a better job at forcing Mac Jones to make plays. And I think in a game that's definitely going to have elements that Mac Jones having to make some plays will be enough to let Josh Allen be able to just outplay him with his own talent. I'll take Buffalo to cover here, and I'll take the under because how can you not?
Yeah, I'm going to go off the same premise. I thought I'd be the only person on Buffalo. I'd be shocked I wouldn't be surprised, but I'd be shocked if New England found a way to sweep this Buffalo team. They did start slowing down the run when they figured it out in the second half, so hopefully they can take that and carry it over. Hopefully New England hasn't used those run plays to set up a whole new set of run plays for this
But
game,
you know, Bill,
which is possible. It's possible that they can win this game at home if they throw out another weather machine scenario, but I just don't believe the Bills are a bad enough team to get swept by Mac Jones and the New England Patriots, barring crazy circumstances 2 times over. So I'm going to take Buffalo, and I'm going to take the under because I'm sure Bill Belichick will have a good enough first half game plan to keep the scoring down, and then they'll go from there and see what happens. But I'll take the under, and I'll take the Bills to cover.
Yeah, the Bills weather machine is being used on Saturday. A 90% chance of snow on Saturday. So I'm going to take the Bills as well. It seems it's going to be partly sunny, partly cloudy, like in the 30s. So Josh Allen, they'll be able to use they'll be able to throw the ball better than last time they played. So I just
they're like 30-mile-per-hour winds last time. Like
Yeah.
this is a totally different scenario.
Yeah, so I'm going to go Buffalo in this one as well, and the over. I think it's going to be a great game, but I think Mac Jones, it's going to be the first time the lights are shining a little too bright for him as a rookie. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty, so I'll take Buffalo and the over. All right, this next game stinks. Chicago at Seattle. Seattle minus 6.5, over under 42.5.
It's a tank bowl, but both teams are giving up their picks to other teams.
So that's why it's a must win. And that's why both of these teams will be trying their hardest because they're trying not to just go give up top 5 picks to other franchises. I don't know what to say here. It's exciting to see Justin Fields play, but after we saw Chicago last week, he's got no help out there. His offensive line's bad, run game's bad, receivers are bad, coach is bad, defense is bad. But the defense did compete last week, and that's why I think the game will be somewhat competitive here. Hopefully, Justin Fields can continue to show progress as a playmaker. He can use his legs more. Hopefully, some guys can make some tough catches for him. But asking a rookie to go on the road at Seattle against a better than you think Seattle defense, I think they'll just have a hard time scoring enough points to stay in it. Russell Wilson, he looks pretty disinterested, but I think he'd have to play pretty poorly for them to lose to this Bears team that's just not very good across the board. So I'll take Seattle at home to cover here, and I'll take the under.
I think Seattle will win, but I just think they'll only win by a field goal at best. So I'm going to take Chicago to cover just because I think, like Moody said, for the previous Jacksonville Jaguars versus Jets game, over under turnovers being like 7. This is a game where the over under of sacks total being 11, where I think both teams will just spend the whole time giving up lots of bad sacks. We know Justin Fields takes lots of bad sacks. We know Russell Wilson loves to take a bad sack. And Robert Quinn's got 16 sacks. And Seattle's second pass rush has picked it up recently. So I think lots of sacks on this game. Keep the clock running. Both teams floundering on offense. But I think Seattle does enough to get out on a field goal in the end. But that just means I'll take Chicago to cover, and I'll take the under because I expect this game to be pretty terrible. Bottom 3 game of the night today.
I'm taking Chicago to win the game solely on I need the Panthers to jump the Bears in the draft to get to 6.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do. I need that.
I'm sorry y'all gotta listen to this tank talk, y'all. I'm sorry y'all gotta listen about these draft picks. Don't worry, we'll talk about some playoff football soon.
So yeah, I'm going to take Chicago. And how do you take the over in this game? How in any Chicago game? How do you take the over? All right, let's keep it moving. We'll go to the pitiful Las Vegas Raiders hosting Denver. Denver's -1, over under 41.
I can't take Drew Lock to be a favorite. Drew Lock is abysmal. Like he's gonna make, like, we've seen how this usually works with Denver. Teddy Bridgewater goes down and they look like an absolute disaster. That's usually how it's gone. Drew Lock isn't very good. He's gonna make his one YOLO throw a game that's gonna. Cortland Sutton might make a contested catch, although he's hurt. He may not play. Maybe Jerry Jeudy makes a play. Maybe
it was Tim Patrick making plays.
Tim Patrick, those type of things. But overall, it's just not a very good passing offense. And the Raiders The Raiders want to stop the run. The Raiders want to play 8 in the box. They want to have a safety down. They want, though they did lose Abram for the season, and Abram had actually been good against the run. So we'll see how they adjust with that. But I expect the Raiders to just be able to load up on the run game that the Broncos do present with Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. That is a good run game, but I think the Raiders will be able to just isolate it and force Drew Lock to make some plays, and I think he'll turn the ball over. For offensively, I don't really Derek Carr is a better quarterback than Drew Lock, and I think the Raiders are at home.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the better quarterback at home against a backup quarterback. So the Raiders will cover, and I'll take the under.
Well, prior to the season, I predicted that Drew Lock would help Denver win 3 or 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
He had 2 chances, and he didn't help him win any. But I just think this matchup presents too many pounds for the Raiders. I think Denver's pass defense will be the stoppable unit that makes the X factor difference in this game, mainly because we saw recently this week that Simmons and Surtain were both snubbed for the Pro Bowl, 2 guys that I thought for sure would be in. And those guys are going to want to come out and show people that, hey, bro, we're this good, as we saw with how well the 49ers guys were playing yesterday. So I just think Denver is good enough on defense to stop Las Vegas from doing anything all day. I can see that. I can see that. Derek Carr struggled against these cover 2 shell defenses that take away deep plays. So, yeah, I'll take Denver to win a sloppy game. But I think Denver, and I'll take the under because this is going to be another bad game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Denver as well because of the defense. I think it's going to be a hard day for Derek Carr. Yeah, I'm not putting my money on Drew Lock. I'm putting my money on the defense and holding them down. And I'll take the under as well. All right, let's keep it moving. We'll go to Kansas City where they are hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kansas City minus 8.5, over under 45.
It's Pittsburgh.
It's Pittsburgh.
As we know, somehow Pittsburgh found a way to get Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill on the COVID list this week, so they might not play either. So this is going to be the hardest game to predict. Now, I do feel even if those guys miss, I'm not going to pick Ben Roethlisberger to beat Patrick Mahomes. I don't care, even though their defense did do the same type of scenario against Josh Allen earlier this year. So be on alert. We could get that game, but I can't take Kansas City to cover 8.5 points against Pittsburgh in bad weather without maybe Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. I just can't. If those guys plays, maybe we get together and we change our picks, but I'm just going to go with Pittsburgh to cover in another bad, ugly December game. What's the over-under?
45.
Doesn't matter.
45? 45, yeah, under. Yeah, take the under, and I'll take Pittsburgh to cover.
Yeah,
Kansas City to win.
I think Pittsburgh's getting out of here. Actually, this is a worst case scenario, and it's just so Pittsburgh that Kansas City misses both the weapons that we about to find out about Patrick Mahomes for real. Again, this defense, without the weapons that we think have been a contributing cause of him being the most explosive quarterback in NFL history, we're about to find out how good Patrick Mahomes really is because Pittsburgh's desperate, and they're going to be. This is a big game. Pittsburgh knows how to get up for big games. I don't know how you can take Kansas City to cover 8.5 in this scenario without those 2 guys. Pittsburgh never looks great, but they're going to find a way to force a couple turnovers. They'll find a way to make 1 or 2 plays on offense, and the referees will ensure the rest. So I'll take Pittsburgh to cover and the under.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it's 8.5 without Kelce and Tyreek. Honestly, I thought it would have been like
Vegas disrespected Kelce.
Vegas might know. Vegas might know that they're coming back. They could come back.
If they come back, it's obviously a different scenario.
But I'll bite it. I'll nibble on Kansas City. I'll take Kansas City. I'll take the under. But yeah, Moody's absolutely right that this is a game that we see what Mahomes is really made of, where he doesn't have the best duo in the league. So Kansas City under. All right, let's go to the Sunday Night Football game. Moody's game. Washington coming down to Big D. Dallas minus 10, over under 47.
I just hate the lines at 10. 10 is just so much because as we saw the last time, the Cowboys dominated them for 4 quarters and they being barely. You want to say why you say barely? Was that a football game that the Cowboys were lucky to get out of there? Is that how you felt?
That's how you felt. I felt like if Taylor Heineke put some points on the board on the last drive and went for 2,
but they were never going. One, it was Kyle Allen because we'd already knocked Taylor Heineke out of the game. Washington's not good enough to compete in this football game, fellas. So Dallas is going to cover. Washington is getting Taylor Heineke back. they're going to get Montez Sweat back. I really don't think it matters because I think the Cowboys offense at home is going to find a way to get back on track against a really bad Washington secondary. Obviously, the Cowboys offense hasn't been playing. Everyone's been talking about how the Cowboys offense has been struggling over the last 3 weeks, albeit they played 3 straight road games in tough weather environments. Now they're going to return home where their offense has been pretty explosive for all but one game this season. Washington's defense isn't very good on the back end, and I think with all 3 receivers healthy and the offensive line pretty healthy for the Cowboys, I think they'll be able to take advantage of that fact. I think they'll be able to run the ball more effectively as well. They'll have Tony Pollard and Zeke both out there, and they look healthy and healthier every week. And mostly, I don't think Washington's going to be able to block the front any better than they blocked it last time. All of Washington's points came with when they were down 3 possessions and the Cowboys were playing backed off zone coverage. I expect that to be pretty much the same here. I'll take Dallas to cover and the over.
I think Dallas will win. I just can't take Dallas to cover no 10 points. They barely did it last week against Mike Lennon.
We covered 15, actually.
15. I watched that game, unfortunately, so I know how that game went. Maybe it gets away from Washington again, but I just think Washington plays a style of football where as long as Antonio Gibson doesn't put the ball on the ground, but he's been doing it a lot. He does it every other week. So some weeks he don't do it at all, and that's the weeks they've found a way to win. But as long as he doesn't really fumble the game away and Taylor Heineke doesn't turn the ball over on sloppy strip sacks, Washington will do enough to stay in the game because I think their defense gives Dallas a little bit of feats every now and again. And I think this will be a pretty boring game. Dallas will probably just run it down. Be cool with running it down the clock and
get up early and play the conservative game plan.
More NFC East football.
What was your over/under?
What's the over/under?
47.
47. I'll take the over. I think Washington will put up some points, even if it's just in garbage time.
All right, I'm taking Dallas. I think they'll be wanting to play for matchups. Hold on, let me pull up the NFC East picture.
They're at 2 right now. So right now they're matched up with Minnesota. Only 1 spot away from me seeing the San Francisco matchup that I want to see from them.
But yeah, nice San Francisco Tampa Bay first round matchup.
Yeah, I think they'll be wanting to get matchups. I mean, depending on who they play. I'm pulling it up right now. NFC. Right now they'd be playing the Vikings. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they would love that matchup. But yeah, they're going to try to dominate here to keep the 2 seed and try to keep the best matchup for them possible. So I'll go with Dallas, and I will go with the over. All right. I don't know how this game is Monday night in week 16, but here we go. Miami at New Orleans +3. For New Orleans, over under 37.5. And I'm going to go first. New Orleans winning this game. Ian Book going to come out and have a fantastic NFL debut. And the over.
I almost agree with you. I think New Orleans is going to win the game. I have a hard time believing Tua Tagovailoa is going to walk into New Orleans and put up much of anything on offense after what we just saw them do to Tom Brady. Maybe they have a letdown, and that's how Miami gets out of here. But with Miami's offensive line problems, I just don't know how they do anything with New Orleans' front. And then Marshawn Lattimore and those guys will be able to just sit down on the RPOs, the underneath stuff, and they'll be able to take that away. And New Orleans is just going to win the game with defense. Honestly, I think they'll just win the game with a strong physical defensive performance. Offensively, they really don't turn the ball over Ian Book and get Alvin Kamara the football as much as you can. He'll be able to score enough points than Miami. I think Miami will be capable of putting up. So I'll take New Orleans to cover and the under.
I wanted so badly to take New Orleans, but they tend to let down after big performances.
Let down is possible.
And they've done that.
Their quarterback's not in the letdown spot.
He's actually in a worse spot. He's never played before. And I think that's just the factor. They tend to let down after big games, and they're playing with their 4th quarterback this year. As much as I thought Ian Book could be a serviceable NFL quarterback, I just think things are just broken right for Miami to continue this meaningless win streak. And I think they go into the Saints and they get the job done and they cover. They beat them probably just by a field goal. I think it'll probably be one of the worst games. Another game without being competition.
It's December football. It's not going to be good football this weekend, y'all.
But I think I got to take 2 over unknown Ian Book, especially after the New Orleans Saints are coming off that big game with lots of energy and focus put into it. I don't think they'll be as focused. And this screams trap game. What's the over? Under. It's 39.5.
37 and a half.
It's 37.
It's 37.5.
37.5.
I'm going to take the
You went under?
yeah, under.
13-10.
Under.
13-10, maybe.
Both defenses are good.
The one thing I'll say for Ian Book is that he knows how to play with the receiver like running back with playing with Kyron Williams at Notre Dame. Like he's a very receiver kind of shifty, exactly like Kamara. So he has some experience in that with that type of running back. So and that's going to be
and as we speak of that, the Saints just signed Blake Bortles today, so he will be their second string quarterback for that game.
Wow.
I'm glad Ian Book is above Blake Bortles in NFL. I'm glad. I'm happy. But that's it.
Bold prediction. Oh man,
Yeah,
we always go offense. So I'm going to try to think of So I'm going to go with my defensive bold prediction. Myles Garrett gets over 2 sacks and a sack strip fumble, and he probably is the defensive player of the week if Cleveland can pull it out.
All right, if you want to go defense, I'll keep the defensive theme going. TJ Watt makes his defensive player of the year case as he tortures Patrick Mahomes for 3 sacks, and he goes to try to go break Michael Strahan's sack record.
All right, I'll go offense. Ian Book is going to hit this over with at least 275 and 3 tutties.
Wow.
Okay, that's
That's bold.
That's my
bold.
guy.
That's bold.
That's my guy. That's my guy.
All right, Eric. All right, y'all. Happy holidays. Enjoy the football.
All right, bro.